Hello gang. So I shotgunned a whole load of reviews of the rest of the Spider-Verse wave, and I thought I'd just release, one a day for the next couple of days, but when I was watching them back and editing them, I was like, I just don't really love these. I don't know, didn't feel like it was me at my best. So therefore, I just thought I'd throw them all together and just do one mammoth release for tonight. So have at it. If you're wondering where the Frogman and Stilt-Man reviews are, they were a few days ago, so you can delve back into the archives and find those. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the Stilt-Man wave. Chill. Hello Marvel Legends, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. And today it is another pro-con grade, where we take a figure and we have a look at the pros, we have a look at the cons, and we give it a grade. We're still powering through the Stilt-Man wave, and today we have Miles Morales, and what a figure this is. Just the detail and work that's gone into this. The pros are gonna be easy. Look at the face. First of all, look at how expressive that face is. First of all, a perfect representation of Miles from the movie. That's just a perfect translation. Absolutely terrific. But then the actual expression on there, it says, nervous kid who's not too sure what he's doing. And that's what Miles is at this juncture in the film. I'm sure we're going to get another wave of Spider-Verse with a full costume, end of the movie, badass, confident, good to go Miles. But this is early Miles Morales, and it's just a great representation of that. Add to that, you've got the separate pieces of his two jackets, so there's a softer plastic there so that it's more pliable and malleable. I love his little kickers as well, his kicks, whatever you call them, his sneakers for sneaking. He's got his board shorts over the top. So much detail going on with the character for a Marvel legend. There are different versions. Another company has done another Miles, and it's got more detail to it. But for a $20 Marvel Legend or £20 Marvel Legend, this is beautifully detailed. Especially, you've got also the actual spider webbing on his costume is sculpted. It's actually raised. You can feel it. It's like a braille spider figure, and that goes double for his masked head as well. So we have the masked head here, and for that the webbing is also raised on there. So it's a really pretty way of doing it. Of course, when you have the unmasked head looking as expressive and well carved out as this one is, you don't need to use the masked head. It's nice to have it, but I feel it's kind of surplus to requirements. So those are all excellent, strong points. Going to the negatives, there's not a huge amount, but I think that first of all, his feet, unlike Gwen's feet, his feet are more sort of in proportion to his character, which actually makes him quite difficult to balance. He has a very small surface area to stand on, so he is quite wibbly wobbly. He might need a bit of blue tack when I actually pose him properly. And also, just doubling for that is, look at how skinny these legs are. Look at these toothpick legs. This kid has not ever believed or heard of leg day. So it feels very spindly, but at the same time, it represents the figure as it should be. So I can't be mad at it for being a good representation of what we see on screen. It's just something to consider when you think about like the work that's gone into this as far as just material is concerned. There's not so much of it, but it would be bizarre if there was. It would be all out of proportion. So it's well proportioned, but just feels a little bit light in hand, Also, he has different hands, but I'm not sure if any of the hands actually represent kind of the character very well, because this is nervous, unsure kind of character, but he's got like the balled up fist, so it's like my hands are ready for action, but my face is like I have no idea what's going on. So it's a bit of a disconnect there. He also has a thwipping hand as well, but I didn't want to have him, Peter, and Gwen all with thwipping hands. It just looks a bit sort of mirror image of each other. So there is that, but that's all there really is. I think he's an excellent figure, and we'll pair him up next to the original Miles Morales I've got here, who I also have in the unmasked look. And you can justify having two different versions of essentially the same character, even though of course these are completely different universes. But this Miles has a totally different look to him. He's got the much shorter hair, a very different face. This Miles has the determined, the professional, like he's been there, he's done that, he's been Spider-Man for a while, he knows what's going on. This is the Miles that this one will eventually grow into. And this is a similar kind of costume to what our probably next wave of Spider-Verse characters will have this Miles in. So it's good to see how the character's going to evolve over time. But on the whole, yeah, I really like this character. I don't love him, but I think he's good. I give him a sub rating of...
The quality is obvious, and that counts for a lot, but it's just not, for me, it doesn't spark that joy. But it's still pretty cool.
And that's Miles Morales. Folks, what do you think of this Miles? What other characters do you want to see in the next Spider-Verse wave? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, folks, keep displaying model behavior. Hello, Marvel Legends, and welcome to another edition of... What are we doing? Displaying model behavior. Wow, I'm goofing so much right now. The show is displaying model behavior. The episode type is pro-con grade, where we take a figure, we look at the pros, we look at the cons, and we give it a grade. Jeez, I'm bad at this. So, it is so overdue. We're finally gonna finish the Stilt-Man wave, all right? And we're gonna start with Gwen Stacy. Look at Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, does whatever a spider can. First of all, like, straight off, great figure. I really like it. The pros, first of all, mainly the head sculpt. Just a terrific looking head sculpt. I love the character sort of, the style, the shave sort of undercut kind of thing. She's got a quirky animated sort of expression. This is, as you would expect, straight out of the Spider-Verse movie, and it works so well. One thing a lot of people have pointed out also, big feet. She has quite big feet for her design, which is great. Makes her so much easier to stand. That's fantastic. I am not mad about big feet. The general Spider-Gwen design with the black and white with a little sort of pink accents is great. I love that design. It's simplistic with the blue highlighting there. It's just a really pretty design. Great piece of graphic design from the artist who came up with it. I love the unmasked look with the hood down. I think that look works beautifully. Really, really cool. So on the whole, the aesthetics of the figure, mwah, gorgeous, excellent stuff. She has the interchangeable hands, but she hasn't got wall crawling hands. I like wall crawling hands, but I'll take a fist and a webbing hand. It's okay. It's got some dynamism to it. But on the whole, the biggest selling point for this figure, I feel, is the face sculpt. I think it's just wonderful. But we do have the masked head as well, which I'll show just like so. And the masked head, I think, is okay. It's not like, oh my god, it's really great, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the hood is resting sort of too perfectly down over it. It doesn't feel, I keep using the word dynamic, but it just feels very sort of static. And actually, I will compare this head to the original Spider-Gwen, and I did not like this figure. I didn't like the original Spider-Gwen figure, but I actually prefer the hood. I prefer the way that it ruffles down at the base. It looks more like a big baggy hood. It falls the way that I would expect it to fall more. And also the big difference is the change in the eyes. You see, the modern Spider-Gwen has like the perfect pink lenses, whereas the original has more of that kind of like airbrushed template, sort of stencil kind of look. I love the airbrushed stencil look. So I think it's a bit of a shame that we lose that. But on the whole, it doesn't matter, because the original Gwen has to have the mask up, because this is the original Gwen's head sculpt. Recoil in horror. Just the blandest, most bored, expressionless face in the world. So you're never going to want to use that. So of course we'll use the head on here. But then of course we have the comparison with the unmasked Spider-Verse head. So that's really great. Now, those are the pros. Let's look at the cons. And there aren't too many cons. I also love, just going back to the pros, you see the older Spider-Gwen has kind of a gloss sheen kind of look to her, which is a bit plasticky, whereas the new one has more of a matte kind of finish, which looks much, much nicer, I feel. It feels like more like material and cloth that the figure is made out of. So on the whole, that's just great. Look at the size of the feet in comparison as well. Got some blue tack on this one. But, which is, look, there you go, case in point. Got blue tack on it, because it needs blue tack. But yeah, going back now, I also, if you compare the two, I much prefer the pink, the bright pink, as opposed to the deep dark, almost maroony kind of purple on this one. So I prefer the brighter, more vibrant colors. Although this one has more color than this one, which has a smaller amount of color. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but I'll take the brighter colors. But as far as other sort of negative points go, there really aren't many negative points. She's a female character, so a little bit spindly, but not bindly. There's actually, she feels like there's some kind of like heft to the character. Yeah, and I think that comes with having a stronger stance as well. So on the whole, I think this is a really good figure. Is it the best of the bunch for this wave? Gosh, how could I forget? Like, one of the biggest selling points I feel for this figure is the added value. You get Spider-Ham. I almost forgot Spider-Ham. Look at this little guy and compare him to the original Spider-Ham. And it's amazing that, you know, this figure has more articulation, it's bigger, it's got more going on, but I hate this guy and I love this guy. Why? Because this guy cost 20 quid and this guy was a free pack-in. So of course, yeah, that's what happens. You can really resent a better figure and love something that's way more basic just because you get your money's worth. As in, we would have paid for Gwen anyway. The fact we get Spider-Ham as well, brilliant. And look, you couldn't justify, they justified this, but you really couldn't justify 20 bucks on this. So one of the characters had to get him as a freebie, and it just so happens that Gwen did. But hey, that adds a lot of value to Gwen. And yeah, so this guy, way, way better than this guy by those kinds of metrics. But also, yeah, just straight out of the cartoon, absolutely wonderful. The John Mulaney, Peter Porker, absolutely terrific. So much added value. That might tip Gwen over the edge for being the best figure of the wave. I don't know, but I would happily give it a grade of...
Yeah, my spider sense is tingling for this one. Yeah, she's good. She's real good.
There you go, that's the grade. And basically, I like it. She's cool. I'm gonna stack her up alongside the rest of the figures in this wave and just, looking at these guys, this is a strong wave. And guys, that was Pro-Con grade for Spider-Gwen. What do you think of Spider-Gwen? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior. Hello Marvel Legends and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior, and we are doing Pro-Con Grade, where we take a figure, we have a look at the pros, we have a look at the cons, and we give it a grade. And coming up next we have Peter B. Parker, my spirit animal. Look at this guy. First of all, the pros, there are a lot. First of all, look at the face. Look at that expressive, quirky, cartoony kind of face. I dig this so much. He's just a really likable, expressive, fun kind of character. He looks great on the shelf and just everything else that goes with him. First of all, his accessories with his little drink cup there, just as all the characters from this wave are, straight out of the movie, perfectly realized from what was on screen. And of course, he's got his big raincoat, his overcoat, which is made of a softer plastic so that you can actually manipulate it a little bit. He's got his little beer gut, his little paunchy Spider-Man belly, then the sweatpants as well, the two mismatching shoes. I love this figure. There's so much going for it. I really, really dig him. And of course, you've got like little extra detail on the coat. They actually painted the buttons and the zip, which is something you would not assume Hasbro would do, because they can be a little lazy with painting the details, but in this case they've really done it, especially also with the stubble, the 12 o'clock shadow on Peter as well. Peter, just like Miles, has the raised webbing, or is it raised or indented? It's hard to tell, I think it's indented, but either way, it's given that extra texture to the character and the costume. Love it, absolutely love it. Going over to the cons, the only con that I would say is simply that just like the other Spider characters, excuse me, just like the other Spider-Verse characters, he doesn't fit the aesthetic of any other Marvel Legends. This is well and truly a wave unto itself. This Peter Parker with the unmasked head, with the quirky sort of Pixar style looking face, he doesn't match any other Marvel Legends. You couldn't just substitute this guy in with, you know, say Mary Jane from the normal Legends line. It doesn't work. The aesthetics, I feel, don't work. Tell me if I'm wrong, you know, that's absolutely fine. But what is great about the Spider-Verse, or the concept of the Spider-Verse, is that you see in the comics all the most disparate, crazy, different looking characters all come together. So this guy, along with the rest of the Spider-Verse characters, can go in your Spider-Verse display and it still works. I mean, you know, in the comics, you have the cartoon Spider-Ham. They had like a black and white news comic strip Spider-Man. Like, everything, all bets are off. So you can totally have this style and it works. So that's great. And of course, he comes with the extra head as well, the half-masked head. And I was really torn as to which one I wanted to display him with. I ultimately went for the full head of hair because it's just a great quirky looking design. But this one where it looks almost like he's wearing a Spider-Man beanie, that's super fun as well. But yeah, for pro con grade, there's a lot of pros and barely any cons really. He even stands pretty well. He does have, you know, again, slightly spindly ankles and whatnot, but that's because he matches the character on screen, so I'm not gonna fault him for that. But yeah, I love this figure. I really dig it. This Spider-Verse wave is so unusual and strange, but also really great. I didn't want to start collecting a whole other wave, like MCU is one that I don't get, Gamerverse I don't get, it's just 616, but I will allow it. For this, I will definitely allow it. I'm very happy with this figure, and I give him a grade of...
I like it!
And that is Peter B. Parker. Folks, what do you think? Who's your favorite member of the Spider-Verse wave? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior. Hello, Marvel Legends, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. And we are doing another pro-con grade, where we take a figure, we have a look at the pros, we have a look at the cons, and we give it a grade. And now we are on the penultimate member of the Spider-Verse Stilt-Man wave. It is Hobie Brown, the Prowler. And this is a figure that, let's have a look at the pros first. Really clever sculpting, taken straight from the movie. Hardly surprising, I don't want to repeat myself. So let's have a look at just the way that they've done the head. It looks like he's kind of wearing like a bag over his head, kind of like Baron Zemo, as opposed to a skin-tight mask. But that just makes it a little more quirky, a little more different, and I really like that. Also, a big thing that I love are the gauntlets. I think the gauntlets look really terrific. The armor and the plating and the padding on there, it just looks cool. It looks really cool. Green and purple with the black together is great, and you got the pink highlighted details on the boots. I really love that. It's just a cool kind of color scheme, just works really well. Then of course you got the cape as well, which some people don't like solid capes. I don't mind solid capes, especially because this cape is not designed to be very long, so it's not very intrusive, so it doesn't really encompass the character or get in the way too much. So that's fine. Just the fact that it holds its position is great. So let's have a look at the cons. And the cons, there's not too many, but you know, it's just sort of the design of the character himself from the movies. I don't really like the almost Dracula kind of pointed Halloween looking cape. It just feels a bit silly, but it's stylized. It's stylized for the movie. It works in the movie, so that's absolutely fine. And really, there's no other cons for it. I dig the figure. There's no real accessories, not much exciting in the way, so that doesn't really rank very highly. But it does, you know, be a great representation of the figure on screen. An unmasked head would have been really nice, considering that he, as a character, it does feature a lot out of costume. You know, it's his connection to Miles that really brings this character home and makes him more important. So an unmasked head would have been nice. But still, he's a very decent addition, and we can stack him up next to the comic book Prowler to see how they compare to each other. And it's a fun comparison. Obviously, this is like much brighter and more vibrant kind of colors. Certainly, this character with his boots are way more effective than this guy with his little anklets that keep on falling down. So that in itself is great. I like the clawed hands of the comic book one, as opposed to just having a very generic half sort of fist kind of design with these. But on the whole, like these are great sort of counterpoints to each other, so I really dig that. So as a final sort of grade, I will happily give this figure a grade of, and that's my grade for the Prowler. A good, strong, solid addition to the Spider-Verse set. And I'm guessing now, like, we're gonna get some more villains. I'd love like a giant scorpion Build-A-Figure. That would be kind of cool, but we'll see what we get given. But in the meantime, I'm really happy with this figure. Folks, what's your favorite figure in the Spider-Verse wave so far, and what more figures do you want to see? Do you want more villains, or do you want to round out the team? It kind of makes sense to round out the team, doesn't it? Anyway, comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior. Hello, Marvel Legends, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. And today we have the Stilt-Man bath. Of course, yes, I jumped ahead of myself. This is pro-con grade, where we look at the pros, look at the cons, and we give it a grade. And this is a figure that I've been really kind of torn on. When I first got him, I hated him. Straight up, I was like, this is trash. This is plasticky trash. Have I changed my mind? Well, let's find out. Let's look at the pros. First, the biggest pro is he's unique. He's very, very unique. And it's difficult to get unique characters now. The fact that his extra legs come with an army builder figure, that was a stroke of genius. That was a really, really clever idea. Although I'm seeing people with like crazy tall Stilt-Men, it's like, really? Like, it's like, this I think it's perfectly adequate, and any more and he doesn't fit in any of my cabinets. So this is actually the perfect height. I wouldn't change it at all. Also, the other pro is of course his briefcase. I'm not sure if I can open it while it's in his hand, but you guys have seen the briefcase. Come on, what am I doing? Just the fact that he's got it there is a great accessory, and it's a great accessory for photographers as well. So I think that the amount of uses that will come with is just a really great addition. As far as other pros go, that's pretty much it. There's nothing else. Paint job, can't really focus on the paint job. He's all one color. Yeah, the pro is that he's unique. He's very, very unique. He's got a fun briefcase accessory with the money inside. That's about it. Let's look at the other pro. He has a stand. It's kind of essential for this character, but look how easy that was, Hasbro. Look how easy it was to just give us a stand. Maybe think about doing that with more characters. It would be such a blessing to get more stands. But for the cons, yeah, first of all, like, the paint job. One thing that you can say, like, yeah, but Dave, in the comics, he's just one color. He's all chrome. Like, what do you want him to do? Like, invent more colors for him? No. But at the same time, look at this face. Look at how just boring this face is. He's first of all, just the design. He's got like a little smirk. That's it. You can't see his eyes. So there's no expression in the eyes. So therefore, surely you would give him more of a dynamic, emotional kind of like mouth, so to make up for the lack of expression in the eyes. No, just a little smirk. That's it. That's boring. That's really, really boring. And then the lack of any other paint. I mean, there's no shading. The lips a different color? I don't think my eyesight's too bad. I can't tell that the lips are a different color. It just looks like they just went psh, and just sprayed a bit of pink on his lower face, because it's like bleeding around the sides a little bit as well. Not by much, I won't fault that too much, but still, it just feels lazy. It feels really lazy. Also, his backpack here, I think the reason why I like the figure more now than I did before was it was so difficult to get the backpack to rest and clip in place. It doesn't fit very naturally. I had to dunk it in hot water and really like force everything together to make it sort of snap into place, but it seems to have done that now, so that's something. But yeah, he's just not a very interesting figure. Totally could have been a single release, and I won't lambast that too much. Like, there are some smaller baths that I really like Demo Goblin, but this one just feels like okay, what, you got like a little bit of extra plastic in the legs. Come on, this could have been a single release. This is not what I consider a bath-worthy figure, if there is such a thing. So I'm not thrilled about this guy. He's fine, and he looks kind of fun on the shelf because he is so unique and tall, but he's nothing that I'm not gonna like forget about in T-1 minute. Yep, just forgotten about him. But yeah, he's okay, and that is my review of Stilt-Man. I give him an official grade of...
It is what it is.
And there you go. So that is the wave complete. Let's take a look at the whole wave together. And you can see it's a real fun bunch. I mean, there are no real duds in the wave. I know I was giving out about Stilt-Man, but that's only because he's a bat and I have bigger expectations, higher expectations for bats. But, he's not a terrible figure. And the other ones are all really strong. It's incredibly hard to grade them or decide, what my actual favorites would be, but let's see if we can do it. So first of all, Frogman, number one. Love Frogman. He's just so quirky and silly. I totally dig him. Then the Hand Ninja. This is not going to be surprising because I'm a 616 guy, and the Hand Ninja has been long overdue. I don't think I'll army build him because I haven't got the money or the space. But he is a really nice figure too. So of course the two main 616 mainstays are my favorites. Then we've got the Spider-Verse guys, and Peter B. Parker, absolutely. He's my spirit animal, love this guy. He's my favorite. Then you've got Gwen, she's coming in next with the great, cool, quirky design and the face sculpt. Then of course, I think, I actually prefer the Prowler. over Miles because, you know, he feels more chunky as a figure. I like that. Miles has great detail going on, but he's so skinny, which of course is what the character should be, but I just don't get much out of the figure for that. And then finally, Stilt-Man, just because I do have my grievances that he feels a little bit lazy with the painting and they could have done so much more expression in the mouth or anything like that. He feels a bit by the numbers, but he is unique and quirky, so that's kind of fun. So there are no duds in this line. It's a fun wave and I'm really pleased with this. This is my first wave of 2021. I know that they did technically come out in 2020, but in England, we've just got them. And if we get more waves like this, where it's more hits than misses, I'm gonna be very, very happy with what we've got for the rest of the year. And guys, that is my final review of the Stilt-Man wave. It was a long time in coming, but we got there in the end. Tell me what you guys think of the Stilt-Man wave. What do you enjoy the fact that they're incorporating Spider-Verse, or you know, I think we're always going to be in that situation where they mix up the waves. If it's not 616 and MCU, it'll be 616 and Gamerverse. Now it's Spider-Verse. So I wish they wouldn't, but I understand the economics of why they do. And that's just something as toy collectors that we got to deal with. But guys, thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 61 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cheers.